We're in the situations that we are currently because of the decisions and things that we have done in our past. No regrets. I'm not going to say this is going to be a controversial topic, but I've heard it both directions. I used to have one of my buddies in college, and you know who you are. He used to go back and forth on this one, but it's looking back on the things and choices that you made in life and thinking to yourself, do I regret that or do I not regret that? And I'm a firm believer in living with no regrets. And the reason why I say that is this, is every decision that we make, everything that we've done, there you can harp on the past or you can continue looking forward. And the best way to describe this one is it's, you're driving in your car and it's like, are you watching what's going on behind you in your rearview mirror more than you are watching ahead of you? And if that's the case, you're going to crash 9 times out of 10. And that's not to say you can't just look in the mirror every once in a while, but it's looking at what are the things in our past that we learned from. I got a good story of the no regret thing. And I can remember back in 2012, I was with the Atlanta Falcons in rookie minicamp and I was kicking there. And, of course, I didn't actually make the team, obviously. But at the same time, I'm in rookie minicamp. And I can remember we go into, it was after the first day of practice and the special teams coach it was me and 2 or 3 other kickers and punters. And we went into his office and we were all just there talking. And I can remember the special teams coach at the time, he goes, if you guys had goals and aspirations, what would those be? And I can remember all the other kickers and punters around there were just like, you know what? I really want to do well at this camp. I really want to, put my best foot forward. And somebody else went and said something and somebody else went and said something. And I'm young at the time, so don't judge me too much on what I'm getting ready to say, but I'm not proud of it. But it was still, I look back on it and it was like, is that something that I regret? And part of me says, yes, I do. But at the same time, it's like, no, I don't, because it put me where I am now. But I remember they came around to me and they go, Taylor, what's your goal? And there's some things you just keep to yourself. But I was like, you know what? My goal is I want to be a back-to-back Pro Bowler in the NFL. And now that I hear myself say that and looking back at it, it was one of those things that you say, and it was like, yeah, it's a personal goal that I have. But at the same time, everyone else heard that. And the second I even said it, I started cringing. I was like, why did I even say that? Why? That was just a stupid thing to say. And looking back, the people didn't know me. They didn't know the situation. And they think about that and thinking about, God, man, this cocky little kid, like what could this person truly, they're just trying to even make a team. How can they have that? But in the back of their head, my reality was that was my goal. I wanted to always have goals that were so out there, but the people in that room at the time, it wasn't the right time to say it. And I look back and I think about some of the things that, we think about, well, what's your regrets in life? And you go back and you maybe have those scenarios that you think about. And you're like, gosh, I just wish I wouldn't have said that. I wish I would have done that. But in reality, the turntable that has to happen is we think about those situations and we say to ourselves, like, yeah, it happened, but that happened for a reason. Maybe I wasn't supposed to be in Atlanta. Who knows what was supposed to happen? Maybe the fact that I moved back here, I'm going to meet my wife and I stayed in Spokane. I start this business and I started doing this. Like I'll take that decision 10 times out of 10 to be in the situation I am right now. So who knows where that would have gone? Why do I wish that conversation would have gone better? It's because I think to myself like, oh, well, I regret that because then I could have maybe gone in through preseason with the team and who knows, maybe won a starting position. Yeah, but who knows? That sounds great to be on a team, but who knows where that would have gone from there? Yes, you look back at that and you think, man, I wish I wouldn't have said that, but that's still, it's not a regret that I have. I'm glad that it went forward because I was able to speak my mind at the time. I was able to say what I wanted to say. And looking back now, I think like, oh man, that maybe didn't sound the best, but I don't regret it. It's something that I'm glad that happened. I'm glad that I learned from it because now I start to think about the things I'm saying. Who are my audience? Maybe read the room a little bit better. It's something that I learned. I'm able to take with me now as I'm sitting in meetings. I'm talking to other people. I can think back to that instance like, gosh, that was something that I said that maybe I shouldn't have said at the time, and I'm able to really learn from that and now apply it to where I am now. Small little things. But again, it's so easy to say, man, I really regret that decision. And I don't. There's not 1 minute that I do regret it because I'm glad it happened, because now it's one of those milestone things you can look back on and say, hey, here's a fun story about, you want to talk about living with no regrets. Here's a story I got. And everyone kind of cringes like, oh my gosh, why would you even say that? It's like, you know what? I have no idea, but I'm here now and I'm doing what I'm doing now because of it. That's what it means to live with no regrets. It's not necessarily things that we don't wish we would have changed, but it's owning that. It's understanding it's a decision that I made. It's where I am. It's just that. It's on the timeline of my life, and it's made me who I am now, and it's making the decisions that I am now because of that. Those are true learning opportunities. That's living in the moment. That's living with no regrets. And that's also understanding and knowing that the decisions that I made define who I am now. It makes me the person that I am now, and it allows me to tell those things to my kids later. Not that they're probably ever going to listen, and my daughter would just say, "Oh my God, that's so cringe, Dad. Why would you ever even say that?" And I get that. But at the same time, if they're willing to learn from those are things that I can tell and learn from myself. But they're things that moving forward, I know that I can talk about and say, look, even in those situations, I'm not living with regrets. I'm where I am now. I'm happy where I'm at. I own the decisions. I'm willing to tell people those stories because I own it. And it is made me who I am today. We look at the mistakes that we've made in our past or the decisions that we've made that maybe we weren't necessarily fond of. And it's very easy to get fixated on those. We look back and say, oh my gosh, I wish I would have done that different. I wish I wouldn't have done that. That would have put me in this decision. It's all speculation because in reality, who knows? Maybe you would have made that decision. It could have changed your whole course to another direction. Maybe you would have ended up in a different place. Who knows? I mean, I think back to my situation where, I was playing soccer my whole entire life. And then I went to play football and I allowed myself to make that decision. I could think like, what if I didn't make that decision to go do that and end up at Western Illinois? Maybe I would have played soccer and I would have ended up in Nashville, Tennessee, or I would have ended up somewhere different, right? And who knows where the course of life would have taken me then. We're in the situations that we are currently because of the decisions and things that we have done in our past. Do you want to look at where we're most likely going to be in the future? It's what we're able to learn from in our past. Did we make decisions? Did we do things that we're not proud of and we continue to make the decisions? Or did we do those decisions, make those decisions, and we make the changes from them? And sometimes they're good decisions that we've made, right? It goes both directions. If we look back and we have good decisions that we made, we also have to acknowledge those as well. Live with no regrets. I think about that as I'm moving forward with everything that I do. And I've talked about this as well. And I kind of keep repeating myself on topics, but you'll notice a lot of things go with each other. And when I go to make decisions, I always look at the 10 years ahead and say, where will I be in 10 years? Speculation. Where do I think I'll be? Will I be upset that I didn't do this? Yes, then I'm going to do it. I would much rather make a decision now that's a bad one and learn from it than take it easy and maybe do something I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is the easy path right now. I would much rather make the most aggressive decision now because I know I'm not going to look back on life and say, man, I wish I would have done that different. It's because the decisions that I make now, I stand by. And I want to do the most aggressive decisions that I possibly can because I know that one day I'll look back on those big, man, I'm sure I'm proud that I did that. So I'm going to close with this one. Living with no regrets doesn't mean that you're perfect. We think about like antiques. We think about things that we see that hold value that were maybe handmade. And the reason that they're so valuable is because they have the scars, they have the nicks. I used to hear the story told by my dad all the time when he was doing weddings. He would talk about, the wedding ring that a lot of us wear. If you look down at it, look at all the nicks that are in it. Look at all of the dents that are in it. Look at the imperfections that it has. It just goes with the characteristics of basically the marriage. I mean, you shouldn't have that on your hand that just looks perfect. No marriage is. No relationship is. It all has its up, its down. It has its flaws, right? That's what makes it. Living with no regrets does not mean that you're living perfectly. It just simply means that you have taken ownership, you understand, you've learned, you've come a better person because of the decisions that you've made. That's what it boils down to. If you guys were able to take something from today and apply it to your everyday life, please hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Until next time, stay sharp and stay resilient.